now. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to the scoreboard. It's Pro Bowl weekend, and we have 2 weeks until the Super Bowl, and Pro Bowl weekend means, more importantly, NFL honors, because we're not going to sink to the level of predicting the Pro Bowl. I got the AFC, by the way, because it's Justin Herbert. But Smokey, how you doing?
Oh, man, I'm actually doing really good. I like this outcome. I mean, what is wrong in the world? There's nothing wrong because, for one, the Bengals is going to the Super Bowl. Matt Stafford is in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady retired. Like, the world is just right now. It feels great.
Okay. See, the problem is, I like Matthew Stafford. I'm glad he made it himself. Obviously, I'm not too happy he made it on specifically the Rams. If he was there on the Lions, it would be even better. But at least knowing that he's the quarterback there, he's a likable player, so it's actually not too bad. Bengals, yeah. Big. That's impressive. Yeah. Unbelievable. Joe Burrow took a team, the worst team in the league, 2 years, and one of the years he was injured. His first full year as a starter turns him all the way around. That's incredible. That's impressive. Dude, at Kansas City too, and Kansas City didn't play well, especially in the second half. The offense fell apart completely. I like that. Evan McPherson is just becoming the MVP of the entire team, and like the Bengals, several times the official fan stores had to tweet out that they don't have enough kicker jerseys right now because everyone has tried buying Evan McPherson jerseys, which is, it never happens that anyone wants to buy jerseys from a kicker, and now they're like on delay because they have to produce them because they weren't planning on it, which is incredible. He's 12 for 12.
Oh, it's
in
crazy.
The postseason. It's nuts.
As a rookie, that's amazing.
That's incredible. That's why you draft kickers, I guess.
It reminds me of that Elliott run that he had with the Jake Elliott with the Eagles. Yeah. That year they went to the Super Bowl. Like, he went on a run like that.
Yeah, he's been doing it all season too, not just the postseason. That's one of their best picks in a long time. People underrate it because the leading scorer on your team is often your kicker. People don't tend to think about it. It's like an afterthought to them. But special teams really, really matters. It has in a lot of the games, the postseason games we've seen. The special teams has played a huge role. And Evan McPherson's, he's been doing good. Mm-hmm. Great to see that. And great comeback too, 21-3 down. I think the Chiefs, if the Chiefs score before halftime, it's a different game. I think that was such a demoralizing play. They were never the same after that.
Oh yeah, of course. It was a meltdown, obviously. It's amazing. The run that the Chiefs had come off of and the way Patrick Mahomes played against the Bills, he looked unbeatable. And in the first half of that game, except for 2 plays to the half, they looked unstoppable again. And even going into the half, you're like, well, there's no way the Bengals are going to come back from this, right? And then they did. And it's pretty amazing. I think it's a great feeling because this is probably one of the Super Bowls that I'm the most excited about since the 2017 with the Falcons. Just because it's a new matchup, and I mean, most of us in our lifetimes haven't seen the Bengals in the Super Bowl, so it's pretty cool.
It's something you don't get to see every day. That is true. But that's not today's topic though, because we have 2 weeks for that to predict that. But what's going to happen this week is the Pro Bowl. Not necessarily the most exciting, but NFL honors are also happening before the Super Bowl. And at the start of the season, at the start of every season, we make our predictions for who we think is going to earn all those awards. Then we watch the season turn out, and now it's time for us to make our final picks. And there's some more obvious ones than others, but we're going to go through all the awards for the NFL honors and see what we agree on, what we disagree on, and then we'll wait and see who actually turns out to be the winner. So, do you have your list ready?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's. We're gonna go with the comeback player of the year first. Who do you have?
Well, I'm sure a lot of people out there, and maybe even the committee also, is going to go with Dak Prescott here. But you know what? The trendy pick right now is actually one of my favorite players to watch right now, and he happens to be on the team that's going to the Super Bowl. I'm going with Joe Burrow, coming back off that ACL tear last year, which he was playing great before that, and didn't think he was going to come back this season and get right back into it like he did and end up going on the streak that he's on, but he did. It's amazing to watch. Going with Joe Burrow.
So I've had a lot of thinking about this. Probably the award I thought the most about. I'm definitely not picking Dak. No secrets to that one. But the problem that I have with picking Burrow here is that the title is supposed to be comeback player, and can we call him a comeback player if he gets hurt halfway through his rookie season? And when he did, he was playing okay, but he wasn't like great. I think this is more of a breakout than a comeback situation for Joe Burrow. So to me, in my mind, he's kind of not really qualified for the award, if that makes sense, right? Because to come back to being like elite in the NFL, you had to have been there before. I don't think Joe Burrow was there before he got hurt, so it's more of a breakout than a comeback player, so he's kind of disqualified. If I had to pick a quarterback, it would be him though, to avoid picking Dak Prescott. But no, I'm picking Nick Bosa. Like I've said earlier in the season, I predicted this. You said it was gonna be Dak because quarterback bonus. I get all that, but he played a better season than Dak Prescott played. He performed in the playoffs against Dak Prescott. The 49ers overperformed for the roster and the record they had. The Cowboys vastly underperformed, and that's mostly Dak Prescott's fault. And also, having a lower body injury like a torn ACL, I would argue is a lot tougher to come back from as a defensive lineman as compared to a quarterback. Because a quarterback, the most devastating sort of issues are typically shoulder or upper body related that hinder the throwing motion. If you have a leg injury, even if it's never 100% the same, okay, you might be a little bit slower, but you can still play your role. For defensive linemen, especially an edge rusher, the amount of pressure and force that goes through the joints of the lower body, the hips, the knees, and the ankles at the angles that they actually rush is immense. So coming back from that injury and having the best season of your career when you were already defensive rookie of the year, your rookie season, getting hurt early week 2 of the next season, coming back, having 3 or 4 more sacks than you did your rookie year, as well as in the playoffs, that's more impressive to me than a quarterback who was already, playing decently, coming back from a lower body injury, playing the exact same way he's been before, which is not good enough for what he's being paid. So Nick Bosa is my comeback player of the year. More deserving of it. Not a quarterback though, so I don't expect him to get it for publicity's sake, but trust me, this is the objectively correct pick, even if the voters don't see it like that.
I want to say something though before we move on. I think Joe Burrow probably is in the running. I'm sure Dak's going to win, but I think Joe Burrow is in the running because I don't look at the award as a comeback to being elite. It's just come back to the NFL. You're coming off an injury. You're coming off of sitting out for a year. I don't necessarily look at it as coming. I mean, look at Alex Smith. Has Alex Smith ever been elite?
He's been really good. He's been good. He's been really good.
He's been above average. Even last season, though, on his comeback, he didn't come back to being elite if he ever was there in the first place. So it was just come back to the NFL, in my opinion.
So for Alex Smith, I would say he qualified for the award more so because he was already towards the end of his career. He's already in his mid to late 30s. And the injury that he did have, a lot of people believe that's a career ender at that point in his career. So he qualified not so much for his actual performance, but for the story, right? The long odds that he actually beat to be able to play again. With Joe Burrow, early 20s, ACL. It's a bad injury, but you come back from it. And we all knew that Joe Burrow was going to be back and he would play in the NFL. Now, we didn't think that he would play the way that he's doing, but that's irregardless of the injury. We would not have thought that Joe Burrow in year 2 would be a top 5 quarterback in the league going to the Super Bowl, regardless of if he gets hurt or not. So that's where it gets into the breakout category to me again. I guess there's room for interpretation there. So I know that he's going to be in the running. He's going to be considered. I kind of left him out mentally because to me that's a different category. But I totally get why. I'd rather see him win it than Dak because he definitely played better and deserves more. And Dak plays for the Cowboys, so nothing good should happen to them. Coach of the year. Who do you have?
I'm gonna stick with it. You know, I thought about Matt LaFleur. I thought about Mike Vrabel, but I'm going with. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are picking this right now because of what they're doing in the postseason, but it is a regular season award, and I think these guys warranted coming from last to first in that division, like you said, along with what is a really decent quarterback. He's shaping up to be probably one of the future greats. Zach Taylor is getting my coach of the year for this year.
All right. Zach Taylor is going to be one of the bigger candidates. I would turn this argument around on you and say because it's a regular season award, Zach Taylor is probably behind Mike Vrabel. If we look at the whole thing, and especially them playing against each other in the postseason, the way the Bengals went, the way the Titans went, Zach Taylor did a much better job, much more impressive job in the postseason. But it's strictly a regular season award. And Mike Vrabel, with Derrick Henry being out for most of the year, Julio Jones, AJ Brown all injured, went to get the 1 seed in a stacked AFC. That is incredibly impressive. That's so just for the regular season, Mike Vrabel should be ahead of Zach Taylor, in my opinion. However, I'm going to throw in a curveball. I'm not picking either of them. I'm going. I wonder if you can guess. I'll give you one chance to guess who I'm picking.
Well, I guess if you're going that route, it's not going to be Shanahan, right? Are you going with Belichick?
No, but close. But Belichick, I can see why, but for him, we're kind of expecting it at this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Rich Bisaccia, the interim head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, because what he did after all that happened to that franchise, and everyone was sitting there about week 8 saying they're going down. Like, they are done for the season. With the Gruden stuff, with the 2 players getting arrested, 2 of your star players getting arrested during the season, your coaching staff evaporates, all sorts of issues. He came in as a special teams coordinator. Never called an offensive defensive play, never head coach before, came in, took over the head coaching position in one of the most tumultuous cities that you could possibly play in, one of the most high pressure situations, and he took them to the playoffs, which is incredible. They started off 3-0, then they started going down, all sorts of stuff happened. He took over and they went to the playoffs. Didn't go too far there, but I think in terms of the difficulty and the tribulations that he faced, his performance with the background that he had before that is the most impressive out of all head coaches this year. Now, I don't think he's going to get it because they already replaced him with Josh McDaniels now, which is also very interesting. I don't think he'll get it, but it's just an interesting side note I wanted to have mentioned. I don't even like the Raiders, and I don't like that they made the playoffs, but Bisaccia is commendable for the job he did, because 9 out of 10 times in that spot, the team goes really, really, really down. Like, I'm talking about losing out and ending up, 5-12, no playoffs in sight. So, great job there. Thinking though Vrabel or Taylor are probably the favorites, but that's one I wanted to mention that to me was most impressive. All right, let's get into the rookies here. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think this is unanimous. It's got to be, right. He's going to.
Yeah. Do you want to say it at the? Do you want us to say it simultaneously?
Yes. Let's
okay,
do it.
3, 2, 1. Mac Jones.
Oh.
Okay. No, I'm joking.
It's Jamar Chase, man.
I'm joking. Yeah, it is Jamar Chase.
I actually thought about that when I was writing it out too. I was like, he's gonna pick Mac Jones. I know he is. You're gonna do that just despite the entire world saying it's Jamar Chase. But it's definitely Jamar Chase. Joining his teammate at LSU there, another great wide receiver who completely dominated in his first season also. Jamar Chase is the runaway favorite.
I do agree. I had Mac Jones for a long time. And I would say that him being a quarterback, it's a much higher difficulty spot. And we saw Justin Herbert win it over Justin Jefferson, which was very much justified in that case. But I think Jamar Chase just added like an extra layer on top of even Jefferson's rookie season with all sorts of franchise records for the Bengals as a rookie. Incredibly impressive. He came in instant number 1 receiver, and a lot of people will consider him a top 5 wide receiver in the league right now. As a rookie, that's insane. Doesn't happen a lot. So Ja'Marr Chase, for the outstanding performance, I think should win. Mac Jones still to be commended as a quarterback to come in to do that, which no one except me expected. I don't think he's going to get it, even though I would not be too disappointed if he did. I have another question though. Are you picking anyone except Bengals today?
Yes. That is actually it for the Bengals.
Okay, that's all of it. I was just making sure. It says other teams in the league. That I know you're hyped about them right now. I get it, but there's other teams in the league. So yes, Ja'Marr Chase, we agree on that one. Defensive rookie.
I actually look back and I picked this before the season started, and I guess it's no great feat because a lot of people did, and I think a lot of people have him now to continue to win this award, and it is Micah Parsons. Runaway favorite in my opinion. There may be a few other names you can throw in there, but going with Micah Parsons, overtaking Leighton Vander Esch before the season even started was the reason I picked him before the season. And
Jalen Smith also cut.
Yeah.
To make room there. So I get it. And he showed up. I mean, he performed. Mm-hmm. Look at the game against San Francisco, the playoff game, and the Cowboys did not play well. He was the best player on defense in that game. And all the veterans, you had DeMarcus Lawrence, 10-year veterans, making egregious errors, mistakes, defensive holdings, and whatnot. Micah Parsons is probably the most disciplined player on that team as a rookie. That's unheard of, and he's also one of the better ones already. So can't argue with a rookie year Pro Bowler, All Pro, even though he plays for the Cowboys, which is unfortunate. But I can't not give it to him. I know there's some people going to argue Trayvon Diggs. I would strongly advise against that. Even though he had the most interceptions, he also gave up the most yards per attempt, which means that he is a pure ball hawk defensive back. He jumps routes, he takes risks, he either gets rewarded or he gets burned over the top. Not necessarily an elite cornerback in my opinion by any means, but a stat pattern, which we typically don't see as much on defense, but that's what Trayvon Diggs is. Micah Parsons wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Can't argue against that. Now, Offensive Player of the Year.
Well, another runaway favorite in my opinion. A few people are going to have Jonathan Taylor, I'm sure, but there's no denying what the guy has done, and maybe it's his quarterback that came in that just unlocked the code. But Cooper Kupp put his name up there with some of the great one-year runs ever. So who can you give it to besides Cooper Kupp?
Well, I know someone who you could give it to besides Cooper Kupp, and it's not Jonathan Taylor. I know Cooper Kupp's most likely to win, and if I had to pick who's going to win, I'd say Cooper Kupp as well. That's my pick too, because the season was historic. But here's the thing. It's 2022, right? Mm-hmm. And Cooper Kupp's, he's good, but he's only a receiver. John Taylor, pretty good, but he's only a running back. I think in today's day and age, you have to be both. To be an offensive player of the year, you have to be in the backfield, you have to be a receiver. Be good if you have a passing touchdown on your slate as well for the season. So the one and only Deebo Samuel has to be the pick, right? 2,000 all-purpose yards. That's more than Cooper Kupp, if I'm not mistaken. 16 total touchdowns. Isn't that more than Cooper Kupp? I don't know exactly for the regular season. No,
Cooper got 18.
He has more?
I believe.
He had 18. All right. But then you add a passing touchdown, you add a rushing touchdowns, record for rushing touchdowns for a receiver. He's the ultimate offensive weapon on that squad, and I think it's hard to argue that Cooper Kupp means just as much to the Rams as Deebo Samuel does to the Niners in terms of offensive production. But just from the standpoint of versatility, I think he's had an incredible year, and he's deserving. I think Kupp's going to win it, but in terms of who's going to be the higher fantasy pick next year, I think it's hard to argue against Deebo, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it actually was 16. I'm sorry, I was thinking 18, but it was 16.
So,
yes.
So they're on the same level there. And Deebo had over 2,000 all-purpose yards, which you don't see a whole lot.
Yeah, and it's pretty much strictly receiving yards for Cooper Kupp. 1947, so they are neck and neck. I agree, and Deebo is right up there for me also. I don't think he's going to win. I think it's going to be Cooper Kupp, but there's no denying that Deebo was something special this year.
2 historic seasons, and they're going to continue too because they're both young players. So some to look forward to that. But yes, Cooper Kupp is likely going to win this one. How about the defensive player of the year?
Well, this one actually is more open in my opinion. I even had Matt Judon on here. If it wasn't for the last 3-4 games of the season, I would have gave this to Matt Judon. But I think I'm going to have to grin and bear it because I'm pretty sure you're going with TJ Watt. I think I will give it to Myles Garrett. The team wasn't that great. They did pull out a win, and the defensive operation that they had going was almost all thanks to Myles Garrett. The defense in a whole was pretty good this season, even if the offense couldn't keep up with Baker Mayfield behind center. I'm sticking with Myles Garrett for this season.
What?
Yes.
Myles Garrett?
Yes.
Like that Myles Garrett?
I knew you were going to hate it.
The more unnecessary roughnesses than forced fumbles, Myles Garrett. The slap you in the face with a helmet, Myles Garrett, that guy?
Yeah, I knew you were going to hate that. That's like picking Dak Prescott to you.
That's much worse, actually. That is worse. Of course it's TJ Watt. You tie the single season sack record in fewer games than Michael Strahan played. I know the season's been longer, but TJ Watt missed games. Fewer games than Michael Strahan played. And I've also harping on this forever. People always say records get easier now because the game is softer. Offensive records get easier. Passing, receiving, rushing records. Yeah, sure. Defensive records get exponentially harder. Michael Strahan, if you look through all 21 and a half of his sacks, if he had those in 2021, 6 of those come back with flags. It's harder now to have a sack record than it was 20 years ago. That is a fact. So tying this record is actually incredibly impressive. This is the equivalent of beating the record by a good margin, because offensive tackles also get better and better, and they have improved more than any other position group over the past few decades, and their pay has as well because of how important the passing offense now is, especially right tackles as well, which he lines up over for most of it. So TJ Watt, in 15 games that he effectively played, 21 and a half sacks, single-handedly took the Steelers to the playoffs and even had an interception in the playoffs for them. No way. This is like the easiest of all the awards, aside from Defensive Rookie, to give out. Easy. I don't want to hear nothing about Myles Garrett. Listen, I'm not even mentioning Nick Bosa. That's how much I respect the season from TJ Watt. Get out of here, Aaron Donald. That's you're just awarding a name. Might as well give it
That's why I didn't go. I have 4 names wrote down here. I have Myles Garrett, Matt Judon, TJ Watt, and Aaron Donald. And I was like, well, no, I can't go with Aaron Donald again. I think I picked him for 3 seasons in a row on this show. And I was like, TJ Watt, I wanted to do something contrarian in this whole list because pretty much I picked all favorites. And I was like, Myles Garrett's up there. Yeah, I'll go with Myles Garrett. I know he's not going to win. TJ Watt's going to win. That's obvious. And it is amazing that almost all these players come from the same division.
That's true. Yeah, that's interesting to know.
Yeah.
No, Myles Garrett's a joke. Come out here. And then you could also add, if you wanted to go more in that division, you could add Trey Hendrickson in there too.
Yeah. I even thought about guys like Von Bell. What's the other center across from Von Bell? I mean, safety. Sorry, across from Von Bell. Jesse Bates. Yeah. I thought about Jesse Bates also.
They've been good. Buffalo safeties too. You could argue. Probably not so much because defensive backs really win it, but Buffalo's had great safety play. Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer.
Oh yeah.
But not TJ Watt. 21 and a half sacks. Most valuable defensive player by a long shot. You can disrupt the passing game like that. You are the most valuable defensive player. Easy pick. Don't want to hear anything about Myles Garrett. No.
I'm sticking with Myles Garrett.
Get out of here. Terrible pick. TJ Watt all the way. All right. Most valuable player. The big award. Who do you have?
Yeah, man, there's no way around this. Even though it was a horrible postseason, but it was a horrible postseason for anybody you could even think about considering for this. But I don't know that he's quite in the MVP territory. I mean, maybe for some people he is, but I don't think he even sniffs MVP territory in the committee's eyes. But yeah, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Like, Brady wasn't quite what Aaron Rodgers was this season. And who else is there? Stafford? No. Everybody had horrible games. Every one of these guys who you could even think about adding to the MVP conversation has had a meltdown game where they were horrible. Stafford happened to have a few more than Brady and Rodgers. And Rodgers probably had the less. If you take away the postseason, this is supposed to be a regular season award, Rodgers has to be the winner. I don't see a way around that.
Yeah, I do agree with that. If you included the playoffs fully, then you could make more of an argument for Joe Burrow. But it's a regular season award, and you really can't. I will first of all agree with you. Aaron Rodgers should absolutely win it. He will win it, and he should win it. I will say this: I think something that's going to end up in Aaron Rodgers' favor is because we know both him and Brady had their worst game against the Saints, where they completely stunk it up and looked horrible. I think it'll be in Aaron Rodgers' favor that he had it in the first game in week 1, and Brady had it so late when the MVP race was just two people. It was like Brady and Rodgers, and we like all eyes on them every week now. And then Brady played the worst game of his career, and that, I think, weighed more heavily on the decision, or will have weighed more heavily on the decision making, that process there. So Aaron Rodgers is going to win. But even if we disregard for that timing aspect, Aaron Rodgers, of course, is the better player. It's a better quarterback. I still would like Justin Herbert to get a vote, at least, so that I can claim he was top 3 in voting, and I can collect my prize from you because you bet against that. But I highly doubt that anyone outside of Rodgers and Brady is going to be getting votes in terms of quarterbacks. Maybe the occasional Cooper Kupp, your wide receiver fan is going to be in there, but eventually, I know that the press does not like Aaron Rodgers at all, and fittingly, I do not like the press, and I know that the committee is consistent of 50 members selected by the Associated Press, but it would be some major robbery if they found a way to somehow not give Aaron Rodgers this award, no matter what they think of him, what they like to write about him. You can't not give it to him. I mean, maybe you can. Maybe they'll find a way somehow sending Brady off with an MVP into his retirement because they think it's the better story. It's not, by the way, but they may think it is. I personally, with my sort of moral compass looking at this, you can't not give it to Aaron Rodgers. It would completely devalue the award. And that can be very damaging. And a great example I can give you for this is the Baseball Hall of Fame. The Pro Baseball Hall of Fame will never have any meaning again with Barry Bonds being denied his last eligibility, while David Ortiz goes in the same year. Everyone who's currently in the Baseball Hall of Fame, anyone who will ever be inducted in the future, it is meaningless now. And that is something that cannot happen to the MVP as well. To a degree, it's happened to the Heisman Trophy. That's in some spots, but then they rectified that in years later. Talking about when they gave it to certain Oklahoma quarterbacks. But we're not going to get too deep in that one. Hope it doesn't happen to the MVP. Aaron Rodgers is the best player in the league still, and there's a lot of good young quarterbacks coming up. He should win the MVP. That's all there is to it. Now, there is the Walter Payton Man of the Year. I don't know, do you have any particular opinion on that one?
No, I haven't even thought about that one. Who do you have?
I literally wrote down anyone but Dak/Garrett because obviously Dak Prescott and Myles Garrett are nominees for both their respective teams, which is fitting because they're both joke franchises, so they both nominated jokes. So anyone but those two, I'm fine with. I'll just a homer. I'll pick Eric Armstead, I guess, for the 49ers, but I don't know what any of these guys do either. It's just usually some like social work or whatever.
I'm going to pick Myles Garrett.
Sure you are. Of course, yeah. Why not? Why not? Of course you are. Real Man of the Year with more unnecessary roughnesses than anything else. And, yeah, trying to kill a guy on national television, yeah. Model citizen Myles Garrett right there.
I will say from the same team, though, Nick Chubb probably deserves a mention for that award.
Oh, because he played for Georgia? Is that
yes,
is that
that's
a citizen's honor now? Okay.
Yes. No, he actually is probably one of the nicest guys in the NFL.
Maybe, yeah. Didn't get the nomination, though, because Myles Garrett is even more of an honorable individual, if you didn't already know.
Exactly.
For the Cleveland Browns. Unbelievable. Well, we'll see. We'll see who ends up with it. Probably someone. It's usually someone you've never really heard of. Like, it's usually not one of the big superstars. I think Russell Wilson got it once, which is kind of weird. If I might be mistaken, but I think he got it once. Yeah, as long as it's not Dak or Garrett, I couldn't care. I could not care more about it. But that is our that's our award predictions. Now we have the special occasion of both Big Ben and Brady retiring, so I guess we have 10 more minutes. If you want anything to say about that, Smokey, you can give your thoughts right now.
Yes. To both of these guys who had a very long, very illustrious career, good riddance, because I'm tired of seeing both of you. And you guys have made my life, more so Tom Brady. Big Ben, of course, his off-the-field problems that he's had throughout his career has made a lot of people hate him. I've been more indifferent to it. I kind of like the Steelers as a team, just as and in a traditional sense, like there's just a great franchise overall, I guess. And being from a smaller city, they have really loyal fans and really great support, and their fans are from all over the entire world. But Big Ben is a different animal because of the problems he's had legally and domestically and whatever. I'm not going to comment on that here, but I will say it's probably about time to move on. Even with his on-field performances, it's time to move on. I don't know that Mason Rudolph is going to be the answer, which some people are actually alluding to. I think that would be ridiculous in my opinion. Josh Dobbs would be a better option than Mason Rudolph at this point. I can't see if Mason Rudolph is the quarterback next year, they're going to win like 3-4 games at the most. It's not going to happen. I think they probably draft someone, or they're in the Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson sweepstakes for the offseason. Tom Brady, so long. Nice to know you. Thanks for coming. Thanks. So long. Thanks for all the fish. Yeah. Get out of here. We're tired. We've got Tom Brady fatigue. I see all the announcers and analysts out there. Oh, I love you, Tom Brady. I'm not gonna say that. I'm tired of seeing him. It's great. It's a great day in the NFL. It's all over. The nightmare is over. We can now move on with our lives. What do you think about it?
Wow. And then Drew Brees retired last year. Another celebratory moment for you. Yeah, the league is really shifting towards the positive now, isn't it?
It is. It is.
If only the Falcons found their quarterback and maybe coach the future soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a send off for two legends, huh? Yeah. Well, I can't say that I disagree with you for the most part. I think for Ben, of course, it's been a long time coming. He hasn't been at his best for quite a few years now, which is why I don't think him being gone on field will hurt them as much as you may imagine, even though, of course, him being just the leader of the locker room and the football personality that he is going to hurt. But I think the franchise won't take too big of a slump like I think the Saints will take, or are currently in the process of taking, losing their quarterback and now Sean Payton as well. I think the Steelers won't have that happen, and if they can pick up a veteran quarterback like Rodgers, of course they'll be right at the top, back at the top again. Though Rodgers seems to be in discussion with the Broncos for the most part at the moment, but there's nothing solid there. And as for Brady, yeah, I mean, both these guys we're going to see in 5 years when they enter the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be unavoidable, and Drew Brees in 4 years from now at this point. And as for Brady, I mean, he's played forever. I've never known the NFL without him, and it's the same for Ben, of course. Mm-hmm. But I think it's probably the right time for both these guys to just leave, because even though they are not coming off good games, and both of their final games were rather disappointing, that's just age, it happens after a while. Yeah. And Brady probably hit his peak more than like half a decade ago, maybe over a decade ago, and he's not fallen off as much. And he's been quite fortuitous to always be surrounded by great talent on the teams that he's been to. But I realistically, I can't see him at this point, even if he wanted to play, really go back to that top end success, because it kind of already showed this year. So I think it's best for them both to go. I think Peyton Manning was very fortunate to kind of be dragged kicking and screaming to a Super Bowl in his final year with Denver, or he would have had a similar situation where he just kind of faded out, got worse and worse and worse, and then retired out of nothing, which is kind of the deal with these two. But those teams are going to have fun, or not fun, but they're going to have a challenge out of them trying to replace them. Mason Rudolph, I don't know. I like him. I've been wishing for a long time that he's going to end up being a starter quality-wise in the NFL, because I really like him, but it's doubtful. I don't think necessarily they'll go with him if they can at all avoid it and trade for some veteran. And for Tampa Bay, I don't know, bring back Jameis or something. Just as long as they don't pick up Aaron Rodgers, I think everything is going to be fine. Maybe they'll trade for Garoppolo. That would be a fine story.
Yeah, that's possible.
Brady gets replaced by Garoppolo after all, and then he has to retire to just allow this nightmare not to happen. Maybe.
That actually is a good scenario. If Garoppolo goes and plays for Bruce Arians loves the aging quarterback that he can bring back in and run his system that he has there, and he actually has really good success with Carson and guys like that, and then Brady, and much better than the young quarterbacks, as we saw with Winston. Sorry, I don't know why that was so hard to say. But, if Garoppolo comes in, that actually probably, I mean, unless he really wants to go with Kyle Trask, but he hasn't had a lot of success with young quarterbacks in his entire career. So, Garoppolo is a really good option for Tampa Bay.
He'd be a good fit. He'd be a good fit in Tampa Bay. I mean, where Brady's a good fit, so is Garoppolo, and he's going to have the team around him that he needs to support to be successful, because they're two very similar quarterbacks. They were in New England. So I wouldn't mind. Of course, I secretly kind of still want Garoppolo to stick around and maybe play for another year in San Francisco, but that's all going to depend on Trey Lance, right? If Trey Lance is ready, he should start, because he has infinitely more upside than Garoppolo. But I don't want him to be rushed out, because clearly they are successful enough with Garoppolo still. So that's going to be an off-season decision. Of course, I'm not there, so I can't tell how far along that Trey Lance has developed. But we'll see how it works out for Pittsburgh, also for Tampa Bay. And actually, there's a lot going on in terms of probably free agency as well as with the coaches, right? We know now that Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, he's sticking around in Dallas. He's not taking a head coaching job. Neither is DeMeco Ryans as a defensive coordinator. He's also sticking around, and it seems like Eric Bieniemy is too. Again, not going to be selected there. So a couple spots still to be filled, but we'll talk about that more in the offseason when we get around to that. So let us know your predictions for all these awards. We've listed them. If you disagree with us or you have a novel take on any of them, put in the comments. Let us know what you think. And next week we'll be back for Super Bowl predictions. And then after that, we're going to also review the actual NFL honors and see where they went wrong and where they went right. And then we have USFL coming up, which is majorly exciting. Always good to have that to look forward to not have to endure a full half year without anything going on. So thank you for watching. Do you have anything to add, Smokey, before we go?
I think that's it for this week.
All right, thanks for watching. Drop us a like, and let us know your picks in the comments. We're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard. Check.